And sometimes when you look at a company like Porsche, I think it's important to remember it's not always a perfectly executed plan to the perfect product. When we do stuff, it also starts with a doodle, with a sketch, with a little moment of inspiration, with a spark that you cannot plan for. And I think that's what's so interesting when we meet the Web3 community, because getting that creative power and the creative power of the Web3 community together and see where it can take us, in my point of view, is extremely exciting for Porsche. Hey there, it's very good to see you. I hope you're having a wonderful time here. Thanks for announcing me. So, yes, I am Deniz. I do work for a small manufacturer of sport cars in southern Germany, as you can see on my shirt. Any one of you been to Germany so far? Yeah? Yo, there you go. You liked it? Yeah? So, that's good to know. So, in my day job, I'm responsible for brand management at Porsche. And that's the first warning I want to give you today. So I've got two warnings in my presentation. First one is I'm a marketing guy, okay? I'm not a tech guy. But still, I'm very happy to give you my take on Web3, and especially why Porsche should play a role there, and why we're very happy to be part of this event. And saying that, big thanks to NFT Now for hosting us, for everything you guys have put together. It's amazing, and I think they have deserved a little round of applause as well, right? So. So as you can imagine, I flew in from Germany on Monday. I had enough time on the flight to fight the Wi-Fi, but also think a little bit about what we're doing here and this very creative and wonderful world in Miami that we're experiencing. And I had 2 really cool days on Monday and Tuesday, meeting a lot of, the most advanced minds in the Web3 universe. And there's been a question that these guys have been asking quite a lot of times. And I think it's a very fair question when you think of Porsche as a brand, because yes, up to now, we are a brand in the physical world. And the very honest question was, why? So why is Porsche entering the Web3 space? Why are you guys coming in now? And I think it's also a really, really good question. Can I ask you guys, if you think of Porsche in one word, just one word, what would come to your mind? Just fast? Yes? Sorry? Classic. Oh, very nice as well. So, yeah, absolutely. So, you see, you have all these associations with Porsche. And sometimes for a brand like Porsche, it's great to have that clear image in the minds of the consumers. But I think for today, it's really important that we zoom out a little bit. So I saw a guy with a t-shirt that said, if in doubt, zoom out. So that's a little bit the spirit I want to take. And that's the second warning for today, because I do not want to talk about the products that you can drive. I want to talk about what drives us as a company and why we feel Web3 and Porsche are such a great fit, and why, this is a picture of our founder, Ferry Porsche, why we could answer the question why also with a clear why not. And if I think about these things, then let's kind of structure the response in 3 parts, why we want to be in this space. The first one is the power of creativity. I think you will all agree, being here, that Web3 is a space that has opened up completely new possibilities for creativity, giving everyone a chance to be seen, to be recognized, and of course also a space with the opportunity for lots of reward and also, the risk of failure. And sometimes when you look at a company like Porsche, I think it's important to remember it's not always a perfectly executed plan to the perfect product. When we do stuff, it also starts with a doodle, with a sketch, with a little moment of inspiration, with a spark that you cannot plan for. And I think that's what's so interesting when we meet the Web3 community, because getting that creative power and the creative power of the Web3 community together and see where it can take us, in my point of view, is extremely exciting for Porsche. Second reason is the power of community. I think any brand in this time and age, if it wants to be successful, it needs to be able to bring people together. Simple as that. If you are a brand and you do not have a reason for people to come to you and spend a good time, I think in this time and age, it's very difficult to survive. And I think Web3 and what you guys have built is exactly in the same spirit. So for us, really, and I really want to emphasize that Porsche is not going into the space for some economic reason. We go there because we want to engage with you guys as a community. And with engaging, I mean, really entering meaningful dialogue, not the one-way street of what we call social media these days. So that's the second reason why I think there's a lot of power in here, and we look forward to, meeting and talking to a lot of you guys. And the third reason may sound a little bit unexpected, but I think there's a lot of power in the unknown. And we are a performance company, so the feeling I sometimes have is very much like when you start a race and you are at the starting line. There are hundreds of scenarios you plan for, but you never quite know what's going to be happening in front of you. And I think these moments where you plunge yourself into the uncharted, that's always a moment that focuses you, that kind of makes you really, really focus on what's important. And so for us, and I'm going to be honest with you about that, there never was a question of shying away from our Web3 entry just because, as we all know, the ride is a little bit rougher at the moment. We believe in this. We believe that this is going to be the future of interaction with our customers and fans. And this is why, of course, although there's a lot of things to be learned for us along the way, we want to be there and we want to do the learning together with you guys. So in the Porsche, in the car world, there is an activity we all love, and I'm sure you guys can relate to it. It's about starting on a road trip, having this anticipation of driving somewhere with friends and spending a good time. And this is exactly the spirit of our project. With you guys, we want to embrace the new. We want to start on this road trip. Let's see where it takes us. Porsche as a company who builds great sports cars. I hope I'm allowed to say that. But don't forget, we are also, creative people. We are community people. We are people that are curious about what's ahead. And this is why I think also for us as a company, this project is so cool. This is the idea. I hope you will join us on that road trip. And to give you a little bit more details about what's possible, I will now introduce my three fellow panelists to you, three guys who are on that road trip and who will talk with me a little bit about the details of our project. So, ladies and gents, please give a hand to Vexx, to Patrick, our lead artist, and to Lars. So guys, how are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah? Excited to be here?
Totally.
Cool. Maybe we do a quick round of introduction. So you say your role in the project, what you've been doing, and please also tell me your favorite piece of food that you had so far in Miami, so we get to know you a little bit better. Want to start, Vexx?
I'm Vexx. I'm an artist from Belgium. I've been making art my whole life, and I entered NFTs a couple of years ago. It really changed the way I looked at art. It's a new medium, a new, fresh, blank canvas for artists to work on. I've released numerous collections, and I'm glad to be part now of Porsche's first NFT collection.
Cool. And the food question, Vexx?
Food, fuck.
Yeah.
I ate some good breakfast yesterday. It was like brioche, truffle, I don't know. It was special.
Sounds amazing. So, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm Patrick Vogel from Hamburg City. I'm 34 and I used to be an architect, a very, very unsatisfied architect. So I made the shift and founded my own little 3D studio called Alt Shift. And now I'm super happy to be Porsche's lead artist on that NFT drop. Yeah.
So architect is like a real architect. So
I was an architect. Then I became like a digital architect. I did staging, visualization, ArcViz, and now diving even more in the art world.
And the food question?
Tacos.
Tacos. Okay. Yeah. Straight. Very simple.
First time in my life.
Lars, up to you.
So, hey, I'm Lars. I'm heading the innovation management at Porsche, and I'm the lead for the innovation portfolio Web3. And in that project, which I really admire, and I love to work with you guys, Patrick and Vince, on the project, I'm the creative technologist, and I really enjoy the ride with you guys. Good question. I would say, as a former climber, it was definitely the banana bread that morning, but only with a good coffee, because I'm a coffee lover.
Okay. I didn't expect banana bread, but here we go. Yeah. So, Lars, we've been here since yesterday announcing our NFT project. There's been a little bit of teasing happening on Twitter. What's the reaction of the community so far? What have you experienced?
So at the moment, the sentiment is amazing. So we opened yesterday our Discord channel, and we grew over the last couple of hours to 13,000 users on Discord, and that is quite amazing. And that is what I highly appreciate, the whole engagement in the community and supporting what we are doing. And I really like the reactions in the moment, which are totally supporting, and looking forward to all the conversations at the event to get an understanding what you are seeing at the moment in the project. Please let me know.
Cool. 13,000, I'm surprised. That figure was a lot lower yesterday. So we should maybe say that we have an activation space in Sector 6, right? So if you want to drop by later on and also collect a very interesting POAP, which we'll talk about later on, then please be our guests. So that's cool. Vexx, you've been working with NFTs before, right? So we're entering the space now with our first true project as Porsche, but you're a little bit ahead of the curve compared to us. So can you share a little bit about your experiences in the NFT space? What have you learned from what you've done so far?
I think a lot. I mean, looking back to the first collection I dropped, I've learned so much. And for me, I think it's just, I don't see NFTs as this specific thing, or it is just monkey pictures, or just whatever. It is just this new medium that has so many possibilities in the art world. Building communities. But I'm very passionate about like the dynamic contracts part. Being able to program your art is something that wasn't possible before. Just seeing everything that's possible and everything that has not been done yet, and kind of trying to lead the way, because I think that's what good artists do.
And what do you think, since you have entered the realm of NFTs, do you think you got new people following you, or have the same people followed you into that digital space? What's your opinion on that?
So I already had a pretty big audience before NFTs. I think it's both. So I have some people that are like super grateful. They're like, oh, I was a fan of you, and then now you introduced me to this NFT world, and now it's been amazing. But then there's also just been a lot of new people. So it's a bit of both. But like, the NFT world is still pretty small, like on the grand scale of things. Yeah. So it's still early, but it's a good place to be discovered and show a different side of you.
Yeah, I think that aspect of discovery is really interesting, and I already outed myself as being the marketing guy. So Patrick, I hope you don't mind if I also say that you are not really been very active in the Web3 sphere prior to our project. So what is your impression, since you've been talking to all these people in the last 2 days about the sphere, and as someone who's definitely loving creativity, what is your take on this?
Yeah, basically, I have to admit, I'm like super new to the whole Web3 world. I was just for the last years, I was just creating art for myself, basically. But my impression from here and other people is like it's a super open-minded scene for me. It feels really good to meet all the people. It's like everyone is like super friendly. There was one. But I don't know if it's Web3 or if it's the States, because when I arrived at the airport, there was actually a lady whose job it was to greet the people and to say welcome to Miami. Yeah. If that would be in Germany, people would call the police. Like, so that's basically what also my feeling is from the whole Web3 scene. Yeah, it's amazing. It feels really good.
A lot of really good conversations. So Lars, I think everyone's interested now in us shedding a little bit more details on our NFT project. So what we know so far, so we will drop a collection of 7,500 virtual digital 911s, right? So our brand icon straight away, but it's not only about acquiring that car as it is, it's also about going on a journey with us. Do you want to explain a little bit what's behind that?
Yes, definitely. So what I'm believing always is having something which is engaging, and that is what we are achieving at the moment with the amazing artists. So what you see in the moment is that you have an iconic white 911, but that is only the start of the journey, which you can be part of it. Because I think that is another story. If you're creating an artwork, it's always an emotional journey, and the emotional journey takes ages, and you bring all your emotion into the artwork. And what we did so far is I created the stuff with Patrick so far, And that is our interpretation of different roads. And I will come back to the roads topic in a few seconds. And I don't want to say that is your unique art piece at the end. So I would love to involve you guys so that you can decide which path you would like to use. So we have 3 paths. So the first one is performance, and that is obviously when you're talking about Porsche. So we're talking about traits which are inspired by our heritage when we call it from the performance heritage side. But it could be something like it's rally orientated, so totally awkward if you combine it, for instance, with Earl Kings. But that is what we like to achieve. You would like to create something which is playful, and you decide how playful you would like to be. The second route is the heritage one, so everything which is coming from our core history. So we are playing around with different patterns, and they are a blast. They're looking amazing. You have to check out it in our sector. You can see it quite a bit in the moment which we are airing. And the last one, and that is something we totally admire that Vexx is included there as well, is lifestyle. So we asked ourselves, what is lifestyle for us? Because if we were seeing yesterday the party, that was totally freaky, and I don't not mean it from the negative way. So different styles are coming together, and the styles which we're seeing there in the moment is nature, totally different. So mindfulness in NFTs as a topic could be something in the future, but as well playing around with clubbing stuff, glamour stuff. But at the end, you're deciding what is your special, unique artwork is your decision. And that is what we would like to create with you guys and with the artists. It's your unique Porsche, and you deciding what you are getting at the end.
So just to summarize it for the audience, I think it's important to say, so the end of the journey is something we want to do with the community, right? It's not about like what you do in the physical world, giving you an option of menus. There's a lot of playfulness, co-creation to be happening, right? And it's also interesting because I think as a brand, it's also an exercise of relinquishing a little bit of control, right? Getting people into the mix. And I think at the end of the day, Lars, the question is, I feel we want to create 911s that haven't been created before, right? It's not about just doing a configuration. It's almost like redefining how one of the most iconic cars in history can look like in the space, right?
I totally agree, because if you are going to our car configurator in our usual sales business, you can see quite amazing cars. I totally agree, but that was not what our vision was at the end. So I totally agree, it was something which is playful, which is fitting into the space. That is what we are aiming for, creating unique artworks.
Cool. So that the question of relinquishing control, Vexx, about getting other people in, how does it feel like for an artist? I mean, I guess when you do something, you also have a really clear idea what you want to express, and then when it's finished, it's exactly what you wanted. But the opportunities of Web3, how does it feel for you?
In what way do you mean?
Is it okay if people get creative with your work and have their own interpretations? Is that something you're comfortable with?
I think, so that's kind of part of like the Web3 mentality. It's more open, like everyone can do their part, and it's less restrictive, which I've always been, since I was young, I've been posting my art on social media, and people copy it, that stuff happens, and I think that's part of the internet and now Web3, and it's something you gotta embrace and kind of nurture, and I think that's cool with the NFT projects, where people will be able to adapt their NFT to their interests and their whatever they want to go with.
Yeah. So it's great to have you on board as ambassador for the lifestyle route. I should say that Chris LeBroy, also a very well-known CGI artist, will also be joining us and taking over the heritage route. He's also exhibiting a really cool piece of art at the Paris Art Museum. So if you go there or have been there, then probably you've seen the sculpture that he has done. Patrick, maybe back to you as the lead artist. So you were tasked with a, let's say, job to really be playful and creative with the 911, as I said, a car well established. Was that something that scared you, or how did you approach that creative question?
It was an amazing task for me, because I love to work in my art pieces. I love to work with iconic stuff. Like I really love to do like really weird art. I don't know if you guys know my stuff. It's really colorful, really playful. I love gold, pink, everything that's like really yeah, fluffy in a way, and so that task was for me. It was amazing, and I was looking forward the most to the to do the lifestyle route, to be honest, because that was where I really felt home, and it was an amazing ride together with Lars and you guys, and yeah, of course at the beginning, if Porsche calls you and says, hey, can you do this? Of course, I was scared as.
Yeah.
You know.
But now you know us, and we're not so scary guys now after we spent this time together. When approaching that from a creative side, and you've done a lot of creative projects before, does it feel different when you do something in the Web3 space? Is there a different character, a different element to it from your creative process, or how do you feel about that?
Thinking about that, it's quite different because you always have this kind of co-creation stuff in mind. You have it's like the stuff that will happen with everything I'm creating. That's completely different than just creating an art piece and then putting it out on Insta or something. Like the stuff that comes next is always about the next step in creating stuff for Web3, and that's what really that's really amazing.
And if I can add, so it was always challenging, so that I had a thread logic and a layer logic in my mind, and we were sometimes fighting against each other. So he was very creative, but I had to making sure that it's working from the development side. So that was quite a challenging stuff, which we had sometimes, but we did it.
You were more challenging. No.
Vexx, do you also feel that it's a little bit different when you create the creative process, when you create something specifically in the Web3 universe, or how would you describe that for yourself?
I wouldn't say it's that different. It's a bit of a different approach, but I like to just see it as an extension of, at the end of the day, you're making art and you're creating, and it's just a different medium, So I don't like to separate it like black and white. It's just a new evolution, and it flows the same way.
Yeah. There's been something really interesting what Patrick said, and maybe your art, Vexx, has always been kind of susceptible for that. But you said the next thing is always important. So almost that feeling like the art is never complete, right? It's in development, it's in motion. Is that something that resonates with you guys?
Yeah, I think you always think the next work is going to be the perfect work, and then when it's done, you're like, that was shit. But the next one is going to be perfect, and that's been the last 10 years or so. I think the next one is going to be perfect.
Yeah. So
I can totally agree on that. Yeah, totally. I worked like months with Lars, and you're starting to you're starting to see like things you would have done different, but everyone else is happy. It's like the details. It's always the same.
And now we're going to have potentially 7,500 judges who will look at that work and have their own version and take it co-creatively even further, right?
And what is quite funny at the moment, if you're looking on the social media channels, that the guys are starting to create their own versions on the basis of the cars we have aired so far. So be creative, show what you are seeing. I would love to see your interpretations as well. And they are doing it in the moment. We highly appreciate that one.
Cool. So, Lars, one thing we were very clear about right from the start is, of course, we talk about a digital product. We talk about a virtual 9/11 that we'll make very unique with the community. But there's going to be some cool utilities attached to that as well, right? Because, as we said, we want to take people on a journey. So can you talk a little bit about some of the utilities we want to offer?
Definitely. We don't want to air everything because it should be a journey which you're taking with me. But what we can say in the moment is there will be physical events, there will be virtual events, which are highly exclusive, so money can buy events. And we are talking about exclusive merch in the moment as well. But have every time in mind that the core of the whole project is the community. And what I mean when we're talking about the core is that we love the passion of the community, and we would love to get in contact with you guys so that we have a co-creation right. And that is what we are trying to achieve. So having the co-creation right with that guys and as well with you. And I'm looking forward to have the first co-creation session with a few holders in the future so that we can talk about innovative projects. We can chat about it, test it, getting your feedback, test the designs of the artists for the future, whatever it might be. That is what we're looking for, bringing you guys together with the artists and with our whole team. And kudos to the whole team as well. You can meet them at the sector. Feel free to pass by and get to know the whole team, please.
Cool. So people in the community will be able to be in touch with Patrick, with Vexx, with Chris LeBroy. So that's a really, I think, strong, creative, and powerful message. By the way, there's one more ambassador missing for the performance route, but that's a surprise that we'll give to you guys in a couple of weeks, hopefully. Working on that.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So Lars, let's maybe also, we had a lot of talk about creativity, which is the beautiful side of the project. Maybe we should talk a little bit on the, let's say, ins and out of making that work. So we have been, and that's been an interesting experience for Porsche as a company, right? We have been founding a very specific entity to be able to enter that space. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So to run the whole business, we're partnered with startups, and the one startup we're partnered with is one of our portfolio startups. That one is a Berlin-based one, and it's called Fanzone. And we created, or they created for the project, the Road to Dreams company. And that is showing as well from the naming where we are aiming to go with you. So we are trying to realize dreams with you guys. And what they're doing with us is creating they're working with us on the platforms so that we can create an exclusive journey for you on the website and can sell the NFTs. And what I would like to link to, and I saw your slides at the beginning, and you saw the little sketch from our famous designer, Peter Wager, and they did the first project with me as well. So they were the partner in the Paris, and we always believe in long-term relationships with you guys, but as well with our startups to support them, to push them, and to bridge the boundaries for the startups, but as well for us, as we do it in the moment.
So it's not only been a creative journey, but it's also been a journey in a lot of different fields of expertise to get this up and running, right?
Technology-wise as well, I would say.
Yeah, technology, legal, everything. Yeah, so one thing I would say by observing the work in this team is it feels to me that that whole spirit of Web3, of co-creation, has also permeated a little bit among the team. So I don't feel like there is the brand who's commissioning something and then there is a vendor doing something. It almost feels like a happy, crazy group of people coming together. And before you say the political correct part,
yes,
let's ask the real guys how it feels to work on this project.
That's exactly how it is. Like this was basically the most fun project in my entire career. It's like it's an amazing team. It's fun, and it doesn't matter who has the actual idea for things. It's like it started when we started working together with the whole process of co-creation. That's actually how it is. It's amazing.
Max, same for you?
Most of the time when you work with a brand, they come to you and they're like, we want this, can you make this?
Yeah.
And let's, you do it and that's it. And now it was more like, okay, Porsche came to me and was like, we respect what you did in Web3 and we want to enter too. How do you think we should enter? Or like, is there something that you can add to it for us? So kind of being open to new ideas and to whatever I was thinking, and that's, I think that's the good way to approach this project.
Cool, very nice. So maybe to close this panel a little bit before we want to open up to some questions for the audience, can I do a quick fire round with you guys? So now we all know 7,500 unique 911s, tons of creative ideas. So I'll start with you, Lars. If you imagine the most extreme, most unexpected version of how that virtual 911 could look like, what comes to your mind? What's your spontaneous idea?
So the bad thing is that I know every trait in the collection. So that is not a good one. But I would love to answer a different way around. I know the car which he is loving, so I would love to have a part of your car. And you know what I'm loving, and I know what he's creating at the moment, and I would love to have both included into my version. And that would mean that I have the lifestyle route, and I combine it, and I don't want to go into detail, but I want to have something from both, because I really like the journey with you, and that would be something which would be a memory from us, or from me, that would be keeping in my wallet, and that is what I'm looking for, having something from both of you.
So Patrick, now you have to...
that's totally nice of Lars, but my favorite one is I have to admit it's like an almost chromy one with it has like this, I don't know, what was the English word for that part in the front, Lars?
It was
the bumper part.
Yeah.
So
bug. So the bug. Yeah.
then this. And this would be out of this kind of Back to the Future iridescent foil material that Marty McFly on his cap. That was amazing because it's like super colorful. It's pink, blue, yellow, greenish, and for the hood it would be made out of opal stone.
Okay.
So it can get like quite weird.
I'm trying to put that together in my head. Marty McFly, iridescent, and all that type of stuff. But I'm sure it's going to look amazing.
The opal one, you can see it in the sector, so check it out. He can guide you what he's seeing there. And the iridized one, so whatever you call it, the book, that is what I would like to have. And I don't want to air it before you are saying it because I know that you're loving it.
Looks amazing.
Okay, that was a perfect tease. And then, Vexx, what's your
I don't know. I haven't seen all the trades. So I guess I'm going to be surprised. I think I want mine to be like as far as possible of anything that is like in the real world. So bring it on, the flowers, the bubbles going through the hood. Yeah, anything that's just crazy and stupid, yes, bring it to me.
Cool. So, Lars.
And maybe
please.
if I can add, so we can create 15,000 versions, and that would mean that every car is at the end unique. So we don't want to have two cars which are similar. So that is what I can promise in the moment. Every car is unique, created by their hands at the end, or the technique behind it.
And that's maybe, to finish our little talk here, that's also really an interesting parallel to the real world, right? Because also in the real world, I'm sure you'll agree, when you walk through Miami, very rarely you see two 911s that look exactly the same. But now we heard about, opals, colorful executions, flowers, you said, organic stuff. So let's see where the definition of what a 911 can be can bring us together with the Web3 community. So, ladies and gents, thanks for listening to us. We are now very happy to answer your questions, should you have any.
You said that you can choose your own trades, is that correct? So how do you guarantee that two people don't choose the exact same trades?
That's a great question for you, Lars.
Thanks. So at the end, what we did is a fantasy configurator. So what we did is you can choose or select a style, and then everything behind it is randomized. So that is what you can influence. And great question. So if we would not do it that way, so we can't control it. But I don't want to say control it because at the end, it's your decision which style you're choosing. Then it's the randomizer. And I love to play around with something you have the control, but the end it's somehow randomized because I would love to see your face, what you're getting, and not knowing directly what you're getting. So that is the moments which I would like to capture in your head, but as well as a picture for me as well.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
More questions? I think this gentleman showed up, yeah.
Question for Porsche. For your roadmap to, I guess, Web3 and entering this space, you already announced your entrance, but moving forward, do you see yourself having your own dedicated team for this, or also collaborating with other creative teams as well outside the company? How do you see the balance between that? Or will it be strictly internal?
So maybe just to give you a little bit of context on our approach here. So the one thing we have established within Porsche is we look at this almost like seasons of a TV series. So we've been very clear that it's difficult for us to plan ahead and, like I said at the beginning, do a perfectly executed plan for 12 months, 24 months. So what you're seeing on stage today, that's season one. As on Netflix, if you like, we'll see what the public reception is, whether it's going to be a hit show, which of course we all hope, and what we can learn from the interaction. But this will be really important how we write the story going forward. And I can say that we are very, very open and happy for further collaborations, for further, let's say, exchange with people in the Web3 sphere. And please do not expect a second season to be exactly like this one with the same logic. We really want to, along with the community, advance this and go even further. The one thing I'm going to say, though, and that's really, really important, that we're in this for the long run. So please do not look at our first NFT drop like a toe in the water exercise and then we'll regroup. So we firmly believe in the dynamic and in the truth, in the fundamental truth of this community. And this is why Porsche will definitely be a part of the community going forward.
If I can add one thing, so the episode which you mentioned, or the seasons, we have a plan, but we would like to understand the plan from you as well. So getting you into the co-creation sessions to understand what could be season 2, So let's do it jointly. And that is the co-creation which we are describing in the moment. So be part of it. So that is what we are dreaming of.
Hi, thank you so much for your time. Basically, my question is, as a fan of, I'm myself a fan of Porsche racing. My question is, how does racing play into the collection as a whole?
So you might remember from what Lars said, we will have 3 basic routes that you can choose from: lifestyle, heritage, and performance. And I would say performance in racing will definitely have a high overlap in terms of creative expression. So I would definitely recommend for you to choose the performance route, and we'll definitely tap along into some of the nice associations that come along with Porsche and racing. Gentlemen, it's going to be an interesting road trip. I look forward to the next couple of weeks and months. They'll be certainly very interesting. I hope we could give you an impression of what we're trying to do with this project and what you can expect. And yes, I think we can be honest, we're still keeping some things a little bit secret because we also want to surprise you along the way. If you want to join the road trip to the first Porsche NFT drop, please do so. And of course, all of us are available in our space for further questions, anything you want to know and talk about. And we very much look forward to that. Thanks for your time here today, and I hope you liked our talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.